Okay. Ah, shit, I just hurt my, Hello. So we should be live streaming. I hope that we are. Let me see. I don't know how to tell if I am. I think I see a thing. Okay. Hi, I'm Jane Frizzell. This is our fourth week talking about the horseman's adage, ride your horse forward and set it straight, and what that really means. And we're going to spend the winter going through the best and most thorough description about it that I know, which is from the Horseman's Bible, Steinbrecht's Gymnasium. So every master horseman in history talks about forward straight horses, and they're all correct. Well, I mean, the real masters, not the fake masters. So, but I am using this text because it's very thorough and gives a rider a very deep understanding of it. And his explanation of the way of going is revered by other masters in history, like Nuno Oliveira, for example, loved Steinbrecht. So he describes it really well. So we're using his text. It's in his book Gymnasium in the English translation, pages 71 through 75. We're on page 71, and we started with the statement as the first main principle of the art. I urge every rider to ride your horse forward and set it straight. So he is quoting other masters. He did not invent forward straight riding. He's saying it's the main principle of the art. We've all got to do this. The last several weeks, the last 3 weeks, we've talked about this paragraph here. When I say riding forward, I do not mean driving the horse forward in the fastest and most extended gaits, but rather for the rider to take care to maintain an active thrust in the hindquarters in all exercises. And that the forward that the forward that we're talking about is namely the desire to move the load forward. And we enable the horse. He has his own desire, but we enable him through practice to learn to govern his thrust by increasing the load. So that's where we left off last week. You should be able to find the previous discussions on this YouTube channel. Just go and look back. I tried to organize them, and I am putting them in a playlist. But now we're on this paragraph. Additionally, I consider a horse to be straight, not if it carries its body entirely without bending, but if its forehand is adjusted in a forward direction to the lines to be traveled, so that the horse's forelegs precede the hind legs under all circumstances. That's the main thing. When the horse is green and stiff, we have to keep adjusting the forehand so it's in front of the hind end. But when the horse is set straight, he will then go so that the horse's foreleg, he will then go so that his forelegs precede the hind legs under all circumstances, even on the most acute bend, even if its body is bent to the greatest extent possible, and in the movements on two tracks. The hind legs, in turn, follow the forelegs unconditionally. And that's the most important thing to teach the horse, that his hind legs step into the front footprints unconditionally, and that they always step forwards in the direction of movement and never to the side of that direction. Okay, so that is our first introduction to what straight means. At the beginning, we have to adjust the forehand so that it is in front of the hindquarters. because a green horse or an untrained horse is they're shaped like a pie slice. They're more narrow in front. So the hind legs don't track into the footprints of the front legs. But as the horse is set straight, when the horse is straight, his forelegs will precede his hind legs under all circumstances, even on acute turns, even on incredible bends. The hind legs, in turn, follow the forelegs unconditionally, in that they always step forwards in the direction of movement and never to the side of that direction. He didn't edit his own book, there's a pile of notes, and his student cobbled it together for the publisher. And I think they did a pretty good job. I think I might have said, I consider a horse to be straight when the hind legs follow the forelegs unconditionally, and that they always step forwards in the direction of movement and never to the side of the direction. And then I might have digressed and say, when the horse is young or stiff, untrained, we're going to adjust the forehand. So it's in front of the hindquarters. So the hindquarters are wider. As the hindquarters become more flexible and agile, they then start to track well into the footprints of the forelegs. And this starts to happen first on bending lines. Now, there is another feature of straight, which is on the next page. We've got 2 paragraphs before we get to the other feature, but I am just going to bring it up now. This first feature is that the hind legs follow the forelegs unconditionally. Right hind to right front, left hind to left front, in that they always step forwards in the direction of the movement and never to the side of that direction. So we do not want the fishtailing hindquarters. What the straight horse, his hind feet track into his front feet. The second feature of a straight horse is that, I think I should be looking there instead of there, is that the spine is over the line of travel. Now, a horse is straight when the hind legs follow the forelegs unconditionally, and that they always step forwards in the direction of movement and never to the side of the direction. That is regardless of line, whether the line is a curved line or a straight line. Before a horse can travel straight on a straight line, he must have each side of his body addressed individually first. And we do this on alternating lines. This is why we go to the right, left, and then we change and go to the right, and we go back and forth. So the horse's hindquarters are prepared for bilateral engagement by addressing each individually with alternating exercises, one side or the other. One lateral, this is what lateral work is. It is one-sided exercises. Okay. So you have a little side note here. There's a second feature of straightness that we're going to pick up on the next page, probably in 2 or 3 weeks. But the first feature of straight is that the hind legs follow the forelegs unconditionally, and that they always step forwards in the direction of movement and never to the side of that direction. And if you can think of them as train tracks, he's got his left hind goes into the tracks of his front, left front, and right goes straight on that, straight into the footprint of the right front. They don't go across the body. They should track into the footprints of the forelegs. And in order for that to happen, the horse must start to be flexible in the torso. All right, what time is it? wonder if we should go on to the next paragraph. Let's see. Oopsie. So we did that. We did that. I wonder if I've spent enough time on that. Let me see if I can. I don't know how to move this without making the laser thing. No, I don't want the laser. Okay. Oh, I see. I use this little thing. Okay. You guys with me? Here we go. Here comes the admonishment. The two golden rules. He's spelled them out for us in brief, but he's going to get into them more when we turn the page. But this is his opener, basically. He's told you what the two golden rules are: forward, straight. And here it comes. If these two golden rules are not observed due to ignorance or negligence, all of the faults that make a horse resistant and often even ruin it develop during training. For me, that is a serious warning. And what is troubling is that these two golden rules, they're quite simple. And horses love the feeling when at first they go, no, I don't want to. It's like going out for a run. You don't want to start or go to yoga. No, I don't want to start. But then once you get going, you like it. Same thing with the horses. Like they're like, oh my God, I got to go straight. I got to carry myself. Once they do it, they like it. These two golden rules. How am I going to say this? I don't think 1%, I don't think 0.5% of horses in the world travel forward and straight. And I think 100 years ago, no, I think 110 years ago they did. I think 90% did. And the reason is because they needed them to. And it was more obvious to people. If your car is not aligned, it goes, blah, 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 and it pulls off to the one side. If you need to go to the, axle fixer people, I don't think 0.5% of horses in the world. I don't think 0.5% of horse people in the world are even considering this first main principle of the art, or the method, or the skill, or the task of riding, of training a horse. And that is a very sad thing for horses and for people that love riding, because I really believe that everyone who starts riding horses and makes it a serious thing in their life really wants to do it right. Every horse girl I know wants to do it right. Every horse guy I know, they want to ride horses the right way. But along the way, I see most people getting distracted. Maybe they like the people in their barn. Maybe they like a certain kind of costume for riding. They do. And these two most important rules of riding are just blown off. And we're told right here, if they're not observed, whether due to not knowing about them or not caring about them, all the faults that make a horse resistant and often usually ruin it develop. Okay, so I've talked about 15 minutes and I actually have another meeting soon. I think I'm going to stop today on that. A page or two on, I think it's on the top of page 73. He brings it up again. Like, if you don't do this, if you don't get this right, you're either going to break him down or make him the boss. So when he's talking about faults here, he's talking about faults in the way of going. And he's also talking about faults of the mind. The horses become crazy or mad or in pain They start picking up other bad habits because the simple baseline for their athletic life is completely disrespected. And so when he's talking about all of the faults that make a horse resistant, he's talking about leaning on a rein, and he's talking about smashing people into the arena walls and rearing and bucking and like all those big time faults and resistances. But he's also talking about the little ones, the ones that most people don't see. And those are the heartbreaking ones. You see an eye start to, the horses goes through the corner and you see an eye go, oh God, they are being misshapen. They are being deformed by not reading the instructions. These are the instructions. I know I sound strident. This is important. Every rider in the program I operate, they want this. They want to do this. And it's really kind of adorable, in my opinion, because they have a desire to do this. They want to do it this way. And that is what a real forward horse does too. He wants to carry himself and he wants to go straight because it feels good. Okay. See you next week.